Hi, and welcome to Azure Tracks and Microsoft Cloud Quick Fix podcast series. So today I have with me Ryan McKay of Microsoft Cloud Quick Fix. I'm Andrew Lowe's of Azure Tracks. We're both cloud implementation folks. We work a lot with Azure and Microsoft 365, helping to implement cloud integrated solutions and really solve business problems. You can find Ryan's blog at mscqf.com, and you can find mine at azuretracks.com. Ryan, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Andrew. How's it going?
Oh, you know what? It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So we've had lots of different things that you and I have worked on again lately. We keep reconnecting in the professional world, and first of all, it's an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate it. But also, we get kind of opportunity to pull little tidbits out from client sites that we can talk about and things that we can help with. So in this case, we have self-service password reset. So we're going to talk about, what's it do, a couple of subsets. And really, we want to see a couple of things. So I have my screen shared up already here. And really, I have my demo tenant set up. And we're actually in the Azure portal on the Active Directory blade. And really, we just click on Azure Active Directory. It brings us right up to properties. Now, I'm logged in as an admin. So I don't have any special policies under here. But if we go through, we can kind of take a look at some of our configurations. So we can see, you can have a couple of different methods required to reset. So different things we can use to authenticate and, send that reset password to, really, that we validate.
Really what this is we're configuring in order for an end user to reset their own password. We as administrators, based on company policy, need to configure, how many challenge questions or challenge methods need to be satisfied to permit the end user to reset their password, by themselves is what's occurring.
Yeah, we should talk about those challenge questions. So when we enable security questions, the default is 5. That's pretty heavy. I've had to use systems that have required 5. If that's what your business policy requires, then that's fine. That's what we implement. I feel pretty comfortable with the 3, and the number of questions required to do the reset is all 3 of those questions.
Yeah.
And we're not going to pre-configure typically, right? So we're not going to pre-configure what a question is, but if we wanted to, we can add predefined or custom ones, and we can go and say, what city were you in on New Year's 2000? So
Calgary.
Calgary, absolutely. I was in fact not in Calgary in the year 2000, just as a fun note. That aside, we can do lots of different options in here, and we can configure this. And of course, it's configured to what's decided on, usually through business policy, like you were saying, but it's very customizable and it's quite flexible. So for me, that kind of begs a couple questions. Really, I want to know about, what does this impact? How do the passwords, they're out in the cloud, how do they get back to on-prem? What technology does that actually use?
So this is in relation to some of the other podcasts that Andrew and I have released, and it builds upon the foundation of what we've discussed in the past. And one of the items that we specifically called out to discuss was the Microsoft Azure AD Connect and what its capabilities are and what it gives the business when it's configured. Check out previous podcasts for, those discussions. But one item that came up in our past discussion was the password write back feature, which is found which is an option that you can enable during the install of Microsoft Azure AD Connect. By enabling that feature at install of Microsoft Azure AD Connect, you now have the capability to enable the password, self-service password reset within the Azure tenant, and have that user able to reset their own password and have it replicate back on-prem to the Windows Active Directory account.
So I have a question about that. So it's during the install of Azure AD Connect. What if my corporation already has it implemented and we're using, extended identities into the Microsoft cloud, but we don't have it enabled? Can we go in and edit that configuration to add this, or do we have to scrap it and do something new? Like, how do we?
Absolutely, Andrew. As you're aware, you can go in after, if this wasn't something that was on your corporate radar at the time, and has become something that is desired. You can easily go back and enable the password right back in the Microsoft Azure AD Connect configuration page. And then, as Andrew just showed you, a few minor configuration tweaks in the Azure space, for self-service password reset based on, of course, your corporate security policies, or with working with your security teams to come up with policies that or the challenge question requirements that are needed. Every company is different. And then, the next step is to sign up for a little bit of demo licensing. This feature is not enabled by default within Azure Active Directory, sort of the free subscription. But there is a trial subscription that you can sign up for either Azure AD P1 or P2, include this capability for self-service password reset. So there is a tiny cost, but you can definitely sign up for a free license within Azure, which will allow you to test this out and see if it, is something that you really like.
Yeah. So, we don't have to worry about the cost today because, we get this cool trial. It lasts actually 3 months. I think it's a 100-day trial. We get for 100 users as well. So that's a good substantial POC that you can run. Certainly you can do a good core chunk of your IT staff if you have a larger enterprise. And if you're in kind of a smaller enterprise environment or small business, then you can enroll pretty much whoever you like to.
Yeah.
No, but it's important to note, though, when we assign these policies, we should map them to a security group, and we should only enable and add this license on people that we want in that POC, right? So we don't want to just put this company wide and assign it to everybody. Otherwise, well, we're figuring out through our demos and our POC times, maybe we configure it to 5 questions and we add 5 predefined ones, but that's not in line with company policy for security. So POC is quite often a little different than production, hopefully. But as we also know, once you roll it out and test, it's out there.
Nothing's more permanent than a temporary solution, right? And really, in this case, what this gives your organization is sort of like, you're asking, why me? Why do I want to do this? One of the number one calls to help desks are password resets. I can't remember a percentage that I've heard, but it's a fairly large percentage of daily ticket counts that are, going to help desks are password resets, password lockouts. I lock myself out of my domain account at least once a week with these fat fingers I've got typing my passwords. To remove that workload from your frontline tier 1 staff, frees them up to focus on more macro, troubleshooting issues that arise in a tier 1, tier 2 sort of scenario. That alone more than justifies the work, the tiny amount of work and the tiny license costs that's associated with implementing self-service password reset within Azure Active Directory.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a super impactful, low-cost way to do it. So, we talk a little bit about the cost of the licensing, but there's a ton of other features, not the least of which we have conditional access and Azure Information Protection. So a lot of those policies, those services and features open up as we add those tiers of licensing under Azure AD, right?
And stay tuned for another podcast in the future in this series on conditional access and additional features available in the Azure P1, P2 offerings.
Do you think I'll be able to keep conditional access talk to 5 minutes and under?
Gosh, no.
That
might be a series in and of itself, but we digress.
Yeah, I'm a little bit notorious with that. It's an IT 5 minutes, so really plan for half an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think one of the, I think the last thing I want to touch on with this is, we're putting this technology out there. We're saying we can reset and, reset passwords kind of in the ether, in the clouds, secure this thing anyways. Well, we did look a little bit, through those demo slides a bit at it, right? So you add multi-factor authentication. That is number one, folks. If you don't have MFA turned on, call us. Go to either blog, ask us for help with your MFA. We'll help you. Okay?
We will. In regard to the MFA, Microsoft does give that away for free now. You have no excuse. No excuse.
The thing for MFA in Azure Active Directory is free. That's completely free.
My favorite price is free.
Absolutely. Everybody's is. Is it perfect? No, it's not. It's not the answer to every security problem. We want to be really honest and upfront about that. But gosh, it sure is hard for somebody in Australia to sign into your Canadian account when you get that MFA request at 4 a.m. You're snoozing, hopefully. Unless you're supposed
to be you're an IT guy.
Yeah. If you're supposed to be at work, then please don't be snoozing. But and of course, the logic there is that you're going to use things like impossible travel. There's all kinds of different features that we can talk about as subsets. But today, it's adding MFA, it's adding those security questions, and that's really how we secure it. We also put notify users on password reset. The default is yes. You should leave it as that. Yeah. So if I reset your password, Ryan, then you get a notification that it's been reset, and you're like, hey, hold on a minute, that wasn't me. And you can phone your help desk, and that's the kind of incident we want those help desk teams dealing with, because that's a security incident and we can lock it down right away. So absolutely. Notifications, those are big. That's a big deal. We want to keep those on. So really, I think in a nutshell, self-service password reset, really easy. Enable MFA, self-service password reset becomes available as a feature for you now. So MFA is a requirement for it. We should probably say that a little. But really, then you can add a couple minor configurations. You set some defaults that are in line with company policies, following best practices, notifications, and MFA, all these good things. And I think your favorite impact is how it reduces ticket count. I'd say it's probably mine too. It's a tangible cost reducing tool that we can put in place for business.
And it's using technology to solve business problems. And the business problem is freeing resources to focus on more important things, quite honestly, than password resets. And that is, again, another amazing feature that the Microsoft Cloud stack gives their customers.
Absolutely. So I guess really to kind of wrap it up, to try and stay close to my imaginary 5 minutes, we'll say really great feature, easy to configure, easy to secure, and super flexible. And all of that somehow still results in it being very impactful in a financial and a usability way. So we enable password write back. It ties into Azure Active Directory, extending our identities from on-premises into cloud, helps close that gap even further for businesses. So they can let people have a bit more freedom, reset their own passwords, reduces workloads. I don't see how people lose with that technology. So go for it, man. Turn it on, or just enable it. It's easy to use. So Ryan, where can we find you on this magical cloud ether?
Yeah, so I have a forthcoming blog that can be found at www.mscqf.com. I'm on Twitter at @MSCQF. You can find me on YouTube and on LinkedIn at Microsoft Cloud Quick Fix. And just recently added, we have SoundCloud I've signed up for, and you can find me there at Microsoft Cloud Quick Fix. It's a brand new platform that Andrew and I are both using, for content delivery.
Awesome. Yeah, and you're totally right. I've been getting into SoundCloud together with you, and we've started uploading a bit of content there, and it's cool because you can download stuff on your mobile and then listen to it offline while you're on the train or driving around or riding your bike through the park to get some exercise, because IT people need to make sure we're exercising. And if you're you should also exercise too, I should probably say.
Yeah.
But you can find my blog at azuretracks.com. And you can kind of find my content really everywhere. It's on Azure Tracks at YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course, Azure Tracks on SoundCloud as well. So Ryan, exactly right. Yeah. So thank you for joining me. I think we learned a lot today about self-service password reset and how we can build on these different I like to call them layers of Azure, and there's different products, there's different services and features, even as subsets of each one. And I find it always amazing. I'm learning something new every day, and it's a real blessing to be part of the community. And anyways, thank you for talking with me. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, it was a great session. Thanks for your time today, Andrew.